From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICB PrimeTime Capper. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And we are here with the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles. And I'm ready to go. I was with Jeff this morning with the midday report. So hopefully you guys caught that show this morning. We were just talking a little March Madness, Lakers, Trey Turner, and the WBC and all that good stuff. So, you know, that's what we had there. And pretty much we are here now, and we are looking forward to a great, great day. And pretty much if you guys are watching this on the Twitter, make sure that you guys retweet this. If you're watching it on Facebook, make sure that you guys share it. So, you know, pretty much let's go ahead and get this thing going. Let's jump into our first topic today, and that's going to be about this big fight that's happening in Las Vegas this weekend. This fight has been simmering for a while now, and that's going to be the fight that's going to be between David Benavidez and Caleb Plant. The fight week and Benavidez Plant fight week begins as rivals finally settle a long-standing beef. And, you know, I could be real messy and put up all the videos and all this trash talk and all that stuff that we've been looking at for the last, I don't know, like 4 years or something like that. But all in all, it's fight week now. Who cares about whatever was talked about in the past? That's all hearsay. That's all mumbo jumbo. That's all, you know, bravado. That's all theater to build a fight. They did exactly what they were supposed to do with this fight. They built the fight. So pretty much we are now all waiting for Saturday night to happen. And pretty much this is a put up or shut up for both sides. You know what I mean? But I think that this does go ahead and get these guys some more paydays as well, too. Let's just go ahead and keep it real in that regard as well. So I'm thinking to myself that winner probably does get Canelo eventually, probably in Canelo's next 2 or 3 fights. But this is a good fight for David Benavidez because this is the first time that he's fighting against a guy that people see as a very in his prime credible opponent as well too. Yes, he did win a championship very early in his career at 21 years old. He was the youngest super middleweight champion of all time. But this is a what have you done for me lately type of business. And I think that David Benavidez has been able to be fortunate enough that a lot of the fans and a lot of the people haven't turned on him yet, just like they've done with a lot of young boxers that have done the things that has lost him his title. He's never lost a title in the ring. He's lost the title because of circumstances. First time around, he had a little issue with a substance abuse. I'm not going to call out you can look up what he was doing, but I don't want to put him on blast like that because I actually know David in real life, and that's a good friend of mine. So I just want to make sure that, you know, I'm not putting his business out there like that, even though you guys all know his business, but still, it was a mistake that was made from, you know, being young and having fun, and they took his WBC belt from him. But people still weren't very disappointed in him. They just said that he was young and being silly. But I don't know if we could really give him the benefit of the doubt when he couldn't make weight and lose the title and lost the title on the scales. And that was kind of embarrassing because, you know, he had worked really hard to get that title back when he beat Anthony Durrell, and then he was literally just handed it right back after a fight or two. And I just really do think that he is kind of having to take his time now because what occurred right after he lost the belt, they literally handed the belt right to Canelo. And Canelo, you know, he wanted the Canelo fight, but I think they talked themselves out of that fight by just talking a little bit too much trash to Canelo and trying to have this bravado thing with Canelo instead of coming at it in the correct way. You know what I mean? I think that's what stopped David Benavidez from being chosen by Canelo because all in all, the guy wasn't ready to sell a fight with him yet. It's just that simple. Caleb Plant was the perfect person to sell a fight with Canelo at the end of the day. I'm not a racist person or a racial person, but let's just keep it real. Caleb Plant is a white guy, and Caleb Plant is a good-looking guy as well, too. Pause. So pretty much it's a sellable, it's a workable situation because he'll bring a certain crowd into the room, and this was for a mainstream audience to follow the fight. People outside of boxing really still didn't know who David Benavidez was. But Caleb Plant was a little bit different because he did fight on Fox a few times as a main event, and he was a part of the main event, the Fox night when they had Pacquiao Thurman, and that was a huge night for Fox and boxing. So he was able to get a lot of fans through that situation as well too. So these are the opening days of fight week. So pretty much what you'll get is a great workout between everybody who's a part of the pay-per-view card and some of the guys that are actually outside of that pay-per-view card that have a lot of expectations. And then Thursday, you'll have yourself the press conference and everything at possibly in the MGM ballroom, but most likely it'll be downstairs in the arena, and nothing's set up yet because they don't really set anything up ring-wise until till everything's all set and done with the weigh-in. So Friday will be the weigh-in, and that's going to be open to the public as well too. So if you are in Las Vegas for the fight, or if you're in Las Vegas for the tournament games, you guys can go over to MGM for free and go watch the weigh-in as well too. So you guys, it's going to be a great fight week. It's a fight week that we all been anticipating. It's really the first fight week of the year in Las Vegas as well too. So that's going to be a lot of fun in itself. But I'll have more about this fight as we go along with this week. I'll have my predictions and everything ready for you guys on Friday. But I just want to give my little 2 cents about this situation. And from what I can see after watching All Access, you have a cool, calm Caleb Plant, and then you have a very anxious David Benavidez. So which one would you trust more, the cool and calm approach or the eccentric, I'm ready for it. This is my time. This is my moment. And, just very impulsive in a sense about making sure he knocks this guy out and puts him in a stretcher and puts him in the hospital for 6 months or something of that nature. And I think that's great, but that's not really selling the fight for me. I would much rather just him say that, you know what, I'm ready to have the biggest moment of my life and I'm ready to just show the world what I'm all about. And pretty much that's all what needs to be said, and that's all what needs to be done. But all the other bravado stuff and just the unneeded threats, that's just a lot of just hot talk, heavy talk, and it's putting more pressure on Benavidez to back up what he's saying. Caleb Plant, we already know he's going to have some slick things to say because that's his style. But I really do feel like he's already in this kid's head, and I really do feel like that's already round one to Caleb Plant. But when it comes to the power portion of this fight, nobody's going to deny David Benavidez. And we all know that this fight can end on one punch, and it wouldn't be Plant doing it. It will possibly be David Benavidez. So I'll have more analysts on this fight as I watch the press conference and everything like that. And I'll probably have this show on a bit before the weigh-in, but I'm going to try to do it after the weigh-in because I do have All In as well too coming up on Friday. So you guys be ready for my prediction and my bets Friday afternoon on this fight. But from what I can see right now, we got the best fight of the first quarter about to happen right now. And you guys make sure to tune in. It's going to be pay-per-view as well, too. And it is a very worth it pay-per-view as well, too. And I know a lot of people probably like, man, it's going to be tough because I did Usman and Leon last week. But you know what, though? This is a boxing match. And, boxing matches bring a whole bunch of people over to your house that are willing to pay for the fight with you by bringing some good food or bringing some good cash with them, so then they can hang out, drink some beers with you, and have a good time watching the fights. So let's go ahead and move on to our next subject in hand, and that's going to be a fun one, and that's going to be Rick Pitino headed back to St.Johns, and that's an absolutely incredible moment for the St. John alum. They have back Rick Pitino, a guy that's very familiar with New York City. Everybody knows that Rick Pitino was the coach of the Knicks in the late 90s and everything like that. And Rick Pitino used that Knicks job to get himself to Kentucky. And pretty much the NBA was a bit too much for Rick Pitino when his first go around, and is a bit too much for him his second go around. But one thing Pitino can always put out there to people, he coached the Knicks and the Celtics, a rare feat for anybody in life general that's dealing with hoops. When you coach both the Knicks and the Celtics, two heralded, two long-standing traditions in all of basketball. Then he takes over Kentucky of all teams as his pretty much as his greatest moments as a college basketball coach. But then after he leaves Kentucky, goes to Boston. Boston doesn't work out. He gets a king's ransom to coach the arch rival of Louisville, of Kentucky, which is Louisville. He goes and really literally duplicates the same success over at Louisville, if not better than what he had over at Kentucky. And he goes ahead and wins himself a national championship with Louisville as well, too. So he winds up getting a national championship at Kentucky and a national championship at Louisville. So literally he owns the state of Kentucky. So he doesn't have to do any more business in the state of Kentucky. So he goes ahead and takes his show over to Iona after the scandal that lost him his job over at Louisville. He wasn't fired. He was forced to retire. So pretty much he waited out a year. He moved over to Iona, which was like pretty much a very the Kentucky of small schools basketball, and one of the better small school conferences. Iona is a team that he did an absolutely incredible job with, because Iona was already a team that wasn't a struggle team as is anyway. Their great coach just moved on to another team. So pretty much he stepped in and put Iona on an even better level. And this team has nothing but respect right now. The FDU coach literally left FDU 5 minutes after he got the call that, Iona was interested. So pretty much Rick Pitino finds himself now, after a great 3-year run over at Iona that produced 2 tournaments for this team as well. And they had a pretty good first half against UConn as well. So pretty much this team literally, there was no more he could do with Iona. He wasn't going to have Iona was never going to make any Final Fours or anything like that. I know he said we're going to be the Gonzaga of the East, blase, blase, blase. But you know what? Gonzaga plays in a conference that's kind of inferior to them. Iona will never be. Iona will stand out, but they'll never ever be an inferior team in the Metro. The Metro fluctuates year by year because everybody's kind of the same player that goes to these schools. So pretty much it always comes down to the coaching and the execution in these games. And like I always say, these games are always 50-50. So pretty much Rick Pitino just gave that some good cosign to try to get in mid-tier recruits that are exceptional recruits for schools like Iona, but usually just role players for schools like, say, St.Johns, where he's headed now. So going to St. John's, he can now go ahead and take advantage of the new rules in college basketball as well, too. Jumping in that transfer portal and going and getting some heavy New Jersey kids that just didn't fit into the schools that they chose. And so pretty much right now, St. John's made the best possible choice for their program to move forward and start winning basketball games again. It's not about developing talent anymore. It's not about bringing in, local guys from the city of New York and Jersey and all that good stuff. It's about right now bringing in a winning coach with a winning mentality that will bring the St. John's Red Storm back into relevancy. This is the only team that gets to play their home games at the Garden whenever they feel like it. And now they'll be back in the Garden more than they've been in the last few years, because usually for them to play in the Garden, it has to be the Georgetown game, the Villanova game, the UConn game, sometimes the Seton Hall game, or the yearly Duke game that they usually have. They didn't have it this year. And, pretty much all games that fit the Garden. But now they're going to probably play majority of their games in the Garden, and they'll probably be playing every Saturday home game in the Garden now because you got Rick Pitino back. And, well, pretty much it was the pretty much the loudest secret in America. Everybody kind of had this feeling when the St. John's job opened up that it was there for Rick Pitino to take. pretty much. There was no other choice other than Rick Pitino for this team. And I think that this was probably one of the more popular, more coveted jobs in all of college basketball. And also, just real quick, we can also highlight that there's a Big East coach that's leaving a Big East school, but he's not leaving the conference. Ed Cooley's leaving Providence to take over Patrick Ewing's post over at Georgetown. And that's an absolutely incredible move because he built something pretty special over there at Providence College. Now he's going to take his act on the road down south to the DC area to coach up the traditional heralded Georgetown Hoyas, who have became a job that's another coveted job because you're getting paid a good amount of money and you have a lot of confidence from your athletic department as well too, because basketball is seen as the sport at the school. So I think that that was more of a move to know that I'm surrounded by people that love this program and they're going to invest as much as they can in this program. Even though Providence has done a great job over the last 20 years building a brand new arena for their team and putting themselves in position to be a good team year in and year out. But after a while, though, you want to get a little bit more. And I think that Georgetown just has a little bit more namesake than Providence. And I think that this was a smart move by Ed Cooley to leave now why his star is still really bright. And I think he knows what the future looks like over at Providence. It's not like they're going to be a bad team, but they're probably going to be a middling team for the next decade or so. So, pretty much it would have been something where he could have been a sacrificial lamb coming up in the next few years. And you don't want to put yourself in that position, even though he's done everything at Providence that you can do to solidify being a great coach at that college. So with that, the Big East is about to be probably the most exciting conference when it comes to coaches. And pretty much right now, if you guys look at what's going on in college basketball, you know that not Georgetown, but the Big East has they're 7-2 in the tournament right now. They got 3 teams in the Sweet 16. They only have 5 bids. So this has to go to show you that this is a power conference and they pretty much are putting themselves in position to probably be the number 1 ranked conference in America when we get to the preseason polls next year. Because honestly, we know that they're going to be showing a lot of love towards Marquette. They're going to be showing a lot of love towards Villanova, who should be able to rebuild some things with some big-time freshmen. And you know that they'll probably have some big-time recruits coming to Georgetown as well, too. So it's going to be a lot of fun in the old Big East, and I look forward to it. But the Big East still does have an opportunity to have a Final Four representative. They got 3 out of the field of 16, and that's always pretty that's a really good number because only them and the SEC have 3 teams in this portion of the bracket. So there it is. Rick Pitino headed to Queens to coach up St. John's. Will he make them relevant again? We will see. All right, let's go ahead and move forward to the World Baseball Classic Finals, and that's going to be between Japan and the USA. And this is going to be a good game tonight. We got Merrill Kelly on the mound for the USA. The USA lineup has been really good from what I can see, and they have played very, very good baseball since that big loss to Mexico. Mexico absolutely just shredded. Mexico absolutely just shredded the USA when they met up, had their game, played everything. So pretty much that's what you have there. And I think at the end of the day, that inspired them that this is not going to be an easy. This is not going to be easy. We're going to be challenged. And there's teams out here that really want to challenge us right now. So we got to take this thing very seriously and we got to be, on point. Do we want to win this? Do we really want to win this tournament? And, pretty much they stepped up to the plate and they went ahead and they got it done. You know what I mean? And they know that they got the players to win this and win it with ease as well, too. And we got to show them that this is who created baseball. This is who showed the world how to play baseball. So pretty much you need to understand that you need to answer to Papa Bear, which is USA. So USA is going to come into this one very confident. but they know that this one is a very high stakes type of situation. They're going against who we feel is the best all around player in all of baseball, and Shohei Ohtani. And pretty much you have the Japanese, who are some of the more elite players in all of the baseball world. You know what I mean? Because after the MLB, you have the league in Japan, and I wouldn't say that the league in Japan is on par with the MLB, but they're not too far off. And they have great baseball players that have all came over to America. Majority of them have all made an impact on whatever teams they chose to play for. So pretty much, you know what time it is. They're playing against probably their best opposition ever in a championship game. Yeah, Puerto Rico was pretty good the last time out and pretty overhyped and had all these awesome players and all this stuff, but Puerto Rico didn't really have any organization. Now, Japan, they're very organized. Japan is very, very caring for all their teammates. And they're looking at it like this is giving them some type of world power. So pretty much the thing is that all right, so that's what you have there, and pretty much that's what it's gonna be. And I think that tonight you have a very fun matchup with both of these teams. And I think that it's going to come down to, who wants it more. But I think that the pitching is going to be the X factor here as well. I think that America knows what time it is, and they need to be the better pitching team tonight. Getting runs, that's going to happen. We saw yesterday that, Japan can be hit just a little bit. So pretty much, at the end of the day, this should be one of the better games for international sports. And I look forward to it. And it's a big deal because America is a part of it. And I would say that this should be the most watched thing in sports tonight. Let's just go ahead and give it that right, because we're about to walk into a great MLB season coming up this year as well, too. And a lot of people I'm seeing right now are really excited about baseball this year, and I'm especially excited about baseball as well too. So I think that baseball is absolutely having a rebirth at this time, and the WBC is a great, great event to really reintroduce the American pastime, and that's all I can truly say. And I'm excited, and I hope you're excited as well too. So there it is, WBC Finals tonight, USA versus Japan. I'll have my bets for you guys in a moment for this. Now, let's go ahead and jump into 30 teams in 30 days and 30 teams in 30 days, 30 teams, 30 days. We have today the Cincinnati Reds. The Cincinnati Reds actually went ahead and were 62 and 100 last year. These guys went ahead and absolutely were a team that was in a rebuild phase somewhat, but they still got Joey Votto, the long-standing vet. They paid Joey Votto a lot of money on an extension. They also have brought in Will Myers as well, too, the former Tampa Bay Devil Ray. And those are the two veterans that they have here in the group. And then everybody else is a homegrown talent that has been brought up by the Reds. Tyler Stevenson, their catcher, is the cleanup man from what it looks like. He's projected to hit 14 home runs this year. They don't have anybody in this lineup this year that's going to hit more than 18 home runs from what they're saying. They're saying that most of their power source is going to come from Joey Votto and Will Myers. But I would say that you can probably get some great efforts from a guy like Kevin Freeman, who looks like he's going to be a good hitter here for this group. He doesn't look like he's going to hit a lot of home runs, but he does play shortstop as well. And he's a guy that possibly could be somebody that is a game changer for this team a little bit this year. Spencer Steer is seen as a guy who's going to be getting a lot of at-bats this year over at the third base hole. And he seems to be a very viable eight man in the hole. So this looks like to me a team that is in the middle of a long rebuild, in my opinion, from what I can see here. And from when I look at the pitcher staff, I get really excited about Hunter Green. Okay, Hunter Green is a very good pitcher. And I think that with time, he can be a guy that's considered for Cy Youngs, but it possibly won't be in Cincinnati. But I think, though, if Cincinnati can put this young group together and build some confidence as they get along, as games go along, they should be in good shape, to be honest with you. And I think Hunter Green can be the ace of the future for this team if he's able to perform. They already have him projected to strike out 193 guys next year. That's pretty damn good. I think Hunter Green will wind up being the all-star for the Reds because they're probably only going to send one. And then you have Lodolo. He's a good pitcher. He looks like he has the best ERA projected for next season. He seems like a guy that's very even kill and a guy that's going to make it very easy for, these lineups on the second day of the week. You know what I mean? That's how I like to say it. And then this other group of guys, they seem decent. Ashcroft was somebody that we were familiar with last year. He was more of a bullpen guy. Now he's going to be more in the starting rotation. Sessa is somebody that's kind of brand new to the rotation. I didn't see much of him last year, but he's somebody that's seen as a very adequate pitcher, but he looks like he's going to be a guy that doesn't go more than 5 innings most times. And then Brandon Williamson is somebody that has a high ERA, and I think that he's more of a spot starter than anything. So pretty much what this team is going to do is they're going to rely on 3 starting pitchers and then mostly their bullpen. That's how I'm seeing it right now with the Reds. So pretty much there you have it. There's not much to talk about with this team, but there's one thing about this team that gets me a little excited. I think that this team can figure out a way to win some baseball games and not be that bad of a team this season. So from what I'm looking at, I saw that they were 65.5 for over and unders this year. And I'm going to keep it real. I like the over 65.5 with this group. I think Hunter Green is going to be much improved. I think that you'll get a good year out of the old vet himself, Joey Votto. And I think Joey Votto possibly will be on the way out. But Joey Votto did sign a big no trade clause contract with this team. So he is committed to the Reds. But I think that a team that's looking for a solid veteran hitter will be in the Joey Votto sweepstakes. And we all know Will Myers is going to be getting moved for some assets. Let's just keep it real. So you got 2 vets over there that will probably be very attractive trade assets as well too. So the Reds will just keep on adding young players to their already young core and try to figure out how they can put together the big red machine 2.0. That's what I'm seeing here with this team. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and jump into the NBA Tuesday night. So you guys stay tuned. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show, the PrimeTime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners and I'll Have Another and Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper, getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, here we are, the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the PrimeTime Capper. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you guys are feeling the same. And this is the second half of our show. And pretty much let's go ahead and jump on this NBA Tuesday night. We got ourselves 6 games tonight in the NBA. And we got some pretty good matchups that all have something to do with, say, some playoff spots, some draft, it doesn't really matter because with the draft, you have the lottery, but you do want to make sure that you get as many balls as you possibly can, i.e. Magic, i.e. Thunder, you know what I mean? But the Thunder actually have intentions of trying to make the play-in right now as well, too. So let's go ahead and get into all that real quick. But up first, let's go ahead and get into this actual Southeast matchup that's between the Wizards, who are 32 and 39, and then we have the Magics, who are 29 and 43, and actually the Magic, not the Magics, because Magic, let's go ahead. There's 3 teams in the NBA that don't end with the S. It's going to be the Jazz, the Heat, and the Thunder. So just always put that into your brain that that's how that situation works somewhat. So let's go ahead and get into it. And pretty much you have a 0.5 favoritism. So that means pretty much a pick 'em. All right. And then you have a over under of 226 and a half. So, this is a game that they see as a low scoring game somewhat in NBA terms now. And I think they're just really pretty much setting themselves up for a game that's going to be very close. That's how I'm seeing it as well, too. So when I look at the numbers in this game, coming into this game, you have both of these teams struggling mightily here in the month of March. And I say this because when I look at the Wizards numbers, the Wizards are actually 3-7 in the month of March, and they've dropped their last 5 out of 6. They're also 16 and 21 straight up on the road. That's actually the best record in the Southeast Conference as well, too. I mean, the Southeast Division. And then they are 7-5 straight up versus the Southeast. That's good enough for second place when it comes to the division. They're not in second place in the division, but they have the second most wins and the second best record against the division, no. And then also against the spread this year, they're 32, 36, and 3. That's not a bad number at all, even though it's a losing number. That means that they've covered a lot of these games because they've been underdogs in a lot of those games. Now, as a favorite, that's a little different. Now, on the road, they're 18, 17, and 2 against the spread. And versus the Southeast, they're actually 6, 5, and 1 against the spread. Now, when it comes down to over and unders, in their 71 games, they've went under in 36 of them. All right, so that's what you have for the Wizards. Now, with the Magic, they're 3-7 this month as well, too. They lost their last game to the Lakers, 111 to 105 in those back-to-back games that they had in Los Angeles. Now they're headed back home where they're 16-9 straight up at home, and they're actually 18-17 against the spread at home. Then when it comes down to playing their division, they're actually at the bottom of the barrel. They're 5-8 straight up versus the Southeast, but when it comes to covering the spread, they're 7-6. So that's a good number in itself right there. And then against the spread total, they're 39, 32, and 1. Top 3 teams in the NBA in that category. Now, when it comes down to the over and under, they have actually split down the middle with 35, 35, and 2 pushes on their over and under in their 72 games. Now, when I look at this game tonight, I really say to myself that this game does fall up under the under category because Orlando hasn't been scoring that many points, but they've been locking it up defensively and everything like that. And I think that what happens here is that this game is going to be played kind of at a slower pace tonight because the Wizards really need to win this game. The Magic, on the other hand, just really love to play basketball a certain style. They play the game very, very hard. That's the whole thing. Pause. Let's not get my words twisted up. But they play the game at a very high level. Let's just keep it real. And I'm not meaning high level like where they go out there and try to beat you every night. But the thing is, though, they're not a bunch of quitters. You know what I mean? And sometimes they just can't figure it out in certain games. That's why they get beat the way that they do. But let's just keep it real. From compared to the first 6 weeks, Orlando's a way, way better team. You know what I mean? If you replace that first 6 weeks, they're actually a playoff team. So pretty much, Orlando has got some great wins this year. The Wizards have got some great wins this year. So it's really tough to pick a side here. But the team that needs it more are the Wizards. But I do like the the under 227.5 here. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next game, which is going to be one that's well up under the radar, and that's going to be over in Atlanta tonight, and that's going to be the Pistons, who are 16-56, going at the Hawks, who are number 2 in the Southeast right now, 35-36, and they are the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Now, they are a 13.5-point favorite tonight at home, and they have an over-under of 236.5 here. So that means that they're looking at a lot of points to be scored in this game. The Pistons are coming in here absolutely dreadful this month. They are 1-9 this month and have lost their last 3 in a row. Also on the road, there's putrid 7-27 straight up, and then they are 15-17-2 against the spread. So that's something that is a little good for bettors when they're thinking about that big 13.5-point spread. And then straight up versus the Eastern Conference, in 44 games, they're 7-37. And in 44 games against the spread, 16-26 and 2 pushes. So, this team is good at covering the game, but they're bad at winning the game. And when it comes down to the over and under, they have went under in 36 of their 72 games, but they do have 1 push. That's why the 36 is on the under. And also against the spread, much better. One of the top 10 teams against the spread. They're 30-39-3. And you have to understand, this team has probably been an underdog literally 97% of the time this season. So pretty much the Pistons were already ready for a dreadful year. Now the Hawks come into this bad boy, and they are 4-5 in the month of March, and they've lost their last 3 out of 4 games. Now, when it comes down to being at home, straight up, they're 19-15, 15-19 against the spread. Against the Eastern Conference, straight up, 21-23. And against the East, when it comes down to the spread, 17-26-1. Now, against the spread in general, they're 31-39-1. And in their 71 games, they've went over 40 times. So when I look at this one tonight, I say to myself that they're going to overbet the Hawks here because they know the Hawks are desperate for a win. And as I said before, this team did drop their last 3 out of 4 games. So they're going to look at this one as a gimme game because the Pistons been absolutely getting shellacked this month. So I know that a lot of people feel like the Pistons will probably not play that hard tonight, but this is the game where they're going to trick you. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Pistons with the plus 13.5. I'm not saying they win the game, but I'm going to just say this, that they're going to keep the game close. How about that? So pretty much with that, we move forward. Let's go ahead and jump into our next game, and that's going to be between the Cavs and the Nets. This one features a Cavs team that's actually playing some lights-out basketball right now, and they're going against a Nets team that's kind of struggling a little bit right now. So pretty much the Cavs coming to this one 45-28. The Nets coming to the game 39-32. It's an over-under of 218.5, with the spread being plus 3.5 to the Nets at home. So pretty much the Nets have returned back to just being very ordinary since they don't have KD and Kyrie anymore. But I feel like they still have a lot of really good hoopers. I like to call them hoopers, scrapers, scrappers, guys that you really like to watch play the game, because if you love the game of basketball, that's the essence of hoop, because these guys don't care. They just want to win basketball games, so they do whatever it takes to win these games. Mikal Bridges, nobody should be surprised how good he is as somebody that they're asking to lead and be the man on a team. This is exactly what was in his draft report as well, too. He was drafted by teams that needed a guy to be a role player. He got drafted by the Sixers. He was able to make a big situation happen for them by moving to Phoenix on draft night. He automatically gave Phoenix the opportunity to win basketball games. So pretty much with that, we have ourselves a very, very, very good situation here with these two. And I feel that tonight you have a game where you have a Cavaliers team that's really trying to, keep themselves right there in that 4 hole. And you got the Cavs 6-3 in the month of March. They won their last game, 117-94 versus Washington. And then also they're 16-20 straight up on the road. And then they're also going to be just give me 1 second. I got to let somebody know I'm going to call them in 10 minutes. All right. So then there's something that is just special about this team this season because they're just, they got a star, so everybody's just playing to what the star want. They're playing up to star mentality. They're 29-15 straight up versus the Eastern Conference, and when it comes to the spread, they're 38-32-3. Now on the road, they're 23-13-1 against the spread, and against the spread versus the Eastern Conference, they're 24-17-3. So this team is playing incredible basketball this season, much improved. This is the best season that they've had since LeBron left. So pretty much there's everything there that is saying that this team can make a good run here in the playoffs this year as well too. Now, when it comes down to the over and under, they've went under in 37 of their 73 games this year. So pretty much with that, the Cavs are a team that either goes under or over. It's just that simple. Now, the Nets are 5-5 this month, but they've lost their last 3 in a row. Now, at home, straight up, they're 19-14 against the spread. They're 16-16-1 against the spread. In general, they're 37-33-1. Now, straight up versus the East, they're 26-18, and straight up and against the spread versus the East, they're 21-22-1. Now, in their 71 games, they've won under 39 times. So pretty much tonight, from what I can see here, I think the Cavs are going to be an over bet. And when you're putting them at 3.5, you're telling me tonight that this is a 50-50 game. It's a toss them up. And I talked about this on Jeff's show as well, too. When I see something like this, I usually just take the side that I think is going to win the game. So we're going to just be straight up here. And I'm going to take the Nets as my dog of the day today with the plus 145. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. We move forward from there. All right, so we have ourselves the Celtics and the Kings tonight. The Celtics and the Kings, one of the better matchups. You got two teams that have some of the best records in the NBA going at it tonight, and they both are right at the top of their conferences respectively. So you have a Celtics team coming in here 49-23. They're trying to get that elusive 50th win of the season as well, too. So you know that they're looking forward to getting that done tonight. Also, you have the Kings who are 43-27. They're trying to keep pace right now to possibly steal the number 1 seed, but I think that's going to be a little bit more difficult than most think. I think that last night should have showed everybody that, Sacramento's getting a little tired here, but they are only a game back from Memphis for that second spot, and they're only 4.5 games back from Denver. But I don't know if they have enough time left because they only have so many games left in the season. And from what I'm seeing here, it looks like they have 11 games left, so it's going to be tough. So they would have to be really good. Last night, unfortunately for the Kings, they did lose that game because you know who we had last night. We had the Jazz as our dog of the day last night with the plus 220. So if you circled that, singled that, played that, you cast a nice last ticket last night on and just go ahead and thank your boy, man. Seriously, I take care of y'all. Other people would have had you all over the Kings because, as you guys know, the Kings had already beat them by double digits twice this season. I wasn't falling for it. It's always a tough out in Utah. So Celtics are 5-5 in the month of March. They lost their last game to Utah as well, too. They lost them 118-117. Then on the road, straight up, they're 23-14. And then versus the West, they're 20-7. And then against the spread, they're 38-34. And then on the road, they're 19-18 against the spread. And then they're 13-14 against the spread versus the Western Conference. Now, when it comes down to the over-under, they have went over in 36 of their games with 2 pushes. So, the Celtics are coming in here trying to get this get back because it seems like they're having kind of a weird month. Like they had a moment where they lost like 3 games in a row and they won 3 games in a row. Then they lost 2 games in a row. Then they won 2 games in a row. So Boston's been real inconsistent as of late. So tonight is a good measurement game for this team. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. Now, when it comes down to the Kings, absolutely incredible month this month. 7-3 in the month of March. They lost their last game last night in Utah by 8, 128-120. Now, straight up at home, they're 21-14. Surprise, surprise, it's not the best record in the Pacific Division either. They're actually the 3rd best home record, but they got the best road record in the division. Now, when it comes down to playing the Eastern Conference, they're 16-13 this year. Now, against the spread, they're 15-14. Against the spread in general, they're 40-30-1. And at home, they're 17-1 against the spread. And in their 71 games this year, they've went over 36 times. So you got two teams that love scoring points here, going at it tonight. But I truly do think what happens here is this is going to be a game that features whoever wants it the absolute most here. And I think that we can go ahead and lean on the over in this spot because both these teams are just tend to go over a lot. So pretty much that's how I see it, and that's how it should be as well too. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it checks out, and we move from there. All right. So we have ourselves a very intriguing final matchup tonight. You have a Clippers team that's trying to keep themselves in the Big Six. That's what I like to call the portion of the playoffs that features the teams that are already going to be in, teams that don't have to be in the play-in, but you know that they're on the border of damn near not being in this thing. You know what I mean? Pretty much the Big Six, because they're going to make the playoffs, but they might not, make the cut of the Big Six. You know what I mean? And the Clippers don't want to be put in the same position that they were last year when they were trying to get into the playoffs and absolutely got bounced out as the 7th seed. So they don't want that again. They truly don't want that situation to occur again. So pretty much with that, I think that the Clippers are a team tonight that's looking to go ahead and get themselves a good win so they can start just getting some headway away from teams like Dallas and teams like Phoenix that lost these key players that they traded for. Now, when I look at my notes, the Thunder, we have to respect the Thunder. They're 7-3 this month. Nobody's talking about that. They're 7-3 this month. This is another winning month for this team. Nobody expected this team to win more than 25 games this year. This is absolutely incredible. They're 7-3 in the month of March. They did win their last game, 124-120, against a Phoenix team that's already solidified in the playoffs, things like that, seen as one of the better teams. But they beat Phoenix again. They beat Phoenix twice this year in Oklahoma City. Now on the road, straight up, they're 13-21. Straight up versus the West, they're 21-23. Against the spread, they have the best record in the NBA, 42-26-3. Now on the road, different story, 19-12-2 against the spread. And versus the Western Conference, one of the best at that as well too, 25-16-3. Now, when it comes down to their 73 games this year, they've went over in 42 of them. That's number one in the league on teams going over. So they're top 5 in points scored per game. And they've been doing a lot of winning with a half healthy Shea Gilgeous-Alexander with Sag. So with SGA. So this team is something that you have to take very seriously. Now, you have the Clippers 5-3 here in the month of March. They won their last game, 117-102 at Portland. They're 19-16 straight up at home, 16-19 against the spread. Now, versus the West, they're 22-21 straight up and 20-23 against the spread. And then when it comes down to the spread, they're 36-36. They're even in their 72 games. But when it comes down to over and unders, they went under in 40 out of these 72 games this year. So the Clippers, as you know, they lock it up on the defensive end. And that's something that's probably going to be a headache tonight for the Thunder. I feel like the Clippers want to have themselves a good game here tonight against a very, very credible team. And they don't want to lose. They don't want to drop another game to the Thunder. The Thunder have had their way with the Clippers a bit this year. They already beat them twice in OKC. So pretty much with that, I'm going to go ahead and say that the Clippers actually go ahead and win this game tonight by the 7 or better. I think that they win this game by double digits, to be honest with you. So I'm taking them with the -7 tonight. I usually don't like taking a number like that, but I feel like the Clippers are getting into playoff form right now, and this is a good game to prove that point as well too. All right, let's go ahead and look at the WBC Championship bets, and I have the 1.5 for the Team USA tonight with the +115. Also, USA money line -130 first 5, and yes, there will be a score in the first inning -155. Yes, I feel like they'll score 6 runs tonight or better. So I got the USA over 5.5 runs with the -125. And I'm going to go ahead and circle the 2 SoCal guys, the Angels, Mike Trout, +230, and the Mookie plus 375 for him tonight. So let's see if we can get either one of those home tonight. That's a good value. That's a good number. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our next portion of Talking Tickets, and we have ourselves the CBB PrimeTime PK4. We have the Oklahoma State spread tonight, -4. We also have Wisconsin tonight with the plus 125. I'm going to take Vandy on the pick at home tonight, and then also we're going to go ahead and finish this nightcap up with Cincy at -110 tonight. This is going to be a 15-1 ticket. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out, and then we wrap it up. We will wrap it up with the super high five tonight, 32-1 with the under 227 with the Wizards and the Magic, 13.5 to the Pistons plus. And then we also have our dog of the day in the NBA, the Nets plus 145. We're trying to have a double down somewhat of our dog of the day as well too. So the plus 145, let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And then we also have the over 238.5 with the Celtics, Kings as well too. And then we have the Clippers with the -7, and that's going to be a 32-1 ticket right there. If you guys put 20 on it, it's 640. So you guys are making some money with this one today as well too. So if you guys put small risk on it, it could be a big reward. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out. And as I said before, my clients did sweep last night as well too. So if you guys are interested in being exclusive clients with the Primetime Sports Investors, you guys can always DM me on the Twitter at PopDiBiase, or you can email me at primewavemedia@yahoo.com. So you guys check for the replay on the Twitter, check for the replay on YouTube, check for the replay on my Facebook, and also check for the replay on my Instagram stories as well, on my Instagram reels as well too. And that Instagram page is going to be DiBiaseWave_. So I thank you guys very much for tuning in today. You guys are the absolute best. And with that, as I always like to say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving. And this is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Kappa. And I'll be right back at you tomorrow at noon. So you guys make sure to tune in for that. And as I always say, keep retweeting, keep sharing, and let's get these numbers up. But I can't wait to get back to you tomorrow. But till then, I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.